Hey, hey.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
Wow, wow, wow. We meet again, chat.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Binda land. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is the Cold Break Confessional. Thank you for joining us. What's happening, guys? Not good things, I'm sure. I don't know. Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, and some other people appeared in front of Congress today to speak about the signal intelligence leak, all that shit, right? It was like 2 hours of it. It was like 2 hours of this being grilled by Congress. And it's probably worth watching it all, but I'm going to try to find a highlight. Let's see. And basically, they just lied their asses off, right? They specifically said that they could confirm, or I want to reiterate, or I want to confirm, or I want to say that nothing classified was in those messages. But the caveat being that Pete Hegseth, as the director, the head of the DOD, would be the originator of the classified documents. And technically, if he wants to declassify them, he can. The problem with that is, if it's declassified, then show it to us. And there's not much of an argument to be made about timing, tempo, and weapons packages on an upcoming strike that you can argue that should be declassified. Just in its very nature, should something be classified or not, you would look at the public. And if the public knew, would it be some type of detriment to our country, our military, our operators around the world? And just by its very nature, that's yes, because the public could be the Houthis, the people we were attacking, right? So if they knew, that could be detrimental to us, to our country, to our service members, to everybody. So let's see. I don't know how good any of these are, but here's a highlight reel in front of Congress. So again, I told you that Hegseth denies it because he's going to come out and say, well, it wasn't classified, I declassified it. But even that doesn't carry weight because it's official communication. It is official communication, and it should be preserved as a record. So even if he could make some type of argument that it shouldn't have been classified, blah, 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 even if he makes an argument that the military, I'll tell you right now, people in the military use Signal all the fucking time. All the time. But it's like formation time, or don't forget this, or we're meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m., or PT has changed from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., or, shit like that. It is not planning missions. In fact, these people, including these, I'm sure including these people in the Signal chat, are specifically told to use Signal. Anybody that would be a big target for hacking is told to use Signal, advised to use Signal. Last year, the Biden administration told people in the CIA and other people that would be often targeted to use Signal for their day-to-day stuff, right? Like if you're texting your wife or you're planning a meeting at 5 p.m. at the office or whatever, but not, specifically not for anything classified. So I know they've been through this training. They're not idiots. They've literally had someone tell them before, take out all the guesswork. They've literally had someone tell them before, you cannot use Signal for classified information, for national defense information. You can use it if you want to say, hey, man, I'm going to play baseball next week, and we're starting a team. You want to join up? You practice on Thursday. Sure. Use it all you want. And you're less likely to get hacked that way. But when we step it up to national defense information, you're not allowed to use it. Anyways, here's a highlight reel. Oh, communist China. What he's mentioning earlier is I think somebody at the CIA responded to an unsecure email during the big cuts and shit, right? That they named agents that can no longer go into the field on an unclassified. We don't know if anybody intercepted it or not. So basically the White House was requesting names of agents and department heads and shit like that. Somebody responded to that email. None of that was secure. So all those people got burned at the CIA. They can work in the office. They can work in the field office. They'll probably never handle anything super secret because even if they're working in the United States, there's still assets that would get close to them to try to learn what they're talking about. But they'll never go to field work ever because they're just burnt now. They're on a list, and we have no idea who knows it and who doesn't. Oh, shit. I was reading something.
Strong pattern.
You guys got to catch up.
I was not here in his position when this took place. But again, earlier in the administration, when a non-classified network...
This is what I was just talking about. When he's talking about a non-classified network exchange, burn a bunch of agents. That's this one.
...was used, thereby exposing literally hundreds of CIA officers' identities. Those folks can't go into the field now. How does that make our government more efficient?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Vice Chairman.
Witness will suspend.
And then the rest of it was just this, somebody screaming. There's a protester screaming.
Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel! Stop funding Israel!
So that protester was a code pink lunatic.
Now we're caught up.
The greatest threat to world peace is funding Israel. I will observe, for the benefit of the audience here on television, that code pink is funded by communist China as well, which simply illustrates, speak up now if you want to be removed as well, whoever's saying that.
Ooh. Testy. She gets to talk for a long time, by the way, even as a protester.
If anyone else would like to join them, speak now, please, so we don't have any more disruptions.
Obviously, my colleagues and I feel very strongly about the war planning meeting over unclassified phones. Obviously reckless, obviously dangerous, both the mishandling of classified information and the deliberate...
I'm sure this is a great guy. I don't know. I can't stand to hear him talk. I don't know how he got elected with that lisp. I'm sure he's a great guy. Maybe he's not. I don't know. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Strongly about the war planning meeting over unclassified phones. Obviously reckless, obviously dangerous, both the mishandling of classified information and the deliberate destruction of federal records are potential crimes that ought to be investigated immediately. And I want to make clear that I'm of the view that there ought to be resignation, starting with the National Security Advisor and the Secretary of Defense.
Director Gabbard, did you...
Oh. Think of all the crazy things that the President of the United States, who is the de facto head of the Republican Party, has said about somebody. Negative things, off-the-wall things, pretending like he was that disabled reporter, giving everybody a nickname, saying horrible things about women. All the things he said, not in his past, just since he's been running for president and serving as president. So from 2016 forward, think about all the horrible things that Trump has said and just keep that in your mind, because we're going to compare it to why the right is now currently losing their mind over somebody on the left.
Participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get it.
3 times. 3 times he asked her, were you in that chat as TG? There was somebody named TG in the chat. Was that you?
Into the specifics.
Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address. So you're not, are you denying, will you answer my question, ma'am? You were not TG on this group chat?
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So you
of
refuse
the
to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat?
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by the National Security
Because
Council.
it's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text.
There is no reason It doesn't matter who's reviewing it. There is no reason to say, yes, I was there, and no, I wasn't there. That's my account, or that's not my account. It doesn't matter if Jesus Christ himself was reviewing it. Just admit it was you. We know it was you, because if you weren't there, you'd just say, no, that's not me. That's Tina Garfield.
Now,
As the White House previously
is it
stated,
classified or non-classified information on this?
That's Shakira flabbergasted.
I can confirm.
Dr. Radcliffe, were you on the group chat?
Senator, I was on a signal messaging group.
So you were the John Radcliffe on that chat?
I was.
Thank you.
So my
Even he admits to, like, yeah, that was me.
communications, to be clear, in a signal message group were entirely permissible and lawful and did not include classified.
Potentially. So potentially everything he said was lawful and fine. Short of it was official communication, and we're not going to have records of that. They are setting on purpose. Signal does not automatically delete message. When you start a new group chat, it keeps them. On purpose, they are communicating through Signal, and for some reason, they are setting the messages to delete after so many weeks. That should be scary in itself, because all official communication is submitted for record keeping.
Information.
Well, we will
To be
make
clear.
that determination, because if it's not classified, share the text with the committee.
Director
He says that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. If it's not classified, share it, publish it, put it out. Let's see it.
I didn't intend to get into the Jeffrey Goldberg story, but something you said has sort of puzzled me. According to open source reporting at 11:44 on the morning of March 15th, Secretary Hegseth put into this group text a detailed operation plan, including targets, the weapons we were going to be using, attack sequences, and timing. And yet you've testified that nothing in that chain was classified. Wouldn't that be classified? What if that had been made public that morning before the attack took place?
Senator, I can attest
That's an easy test to see if this should have been classified.
to the fact that there were no classified or intelligence equities that were included in that chat group at any time.
So,
And I
so the
defer,
attack sequencing and timing and weapons and targets you don't consider should have been classified?
I
or
defer
were
to the
classified?
Secretary of Defense, the National Security Council on that question.
Well, you're the head of the intelligence community, and you're supposed to know about classifications.
Do you share that evaluation, the Secretary of Defense's evaluation of Jeff Goldberg as a journalist?
Senator, I didn't see those comments. I don't know Jeff Goldberg.
So do you share that view of the Secretary of Defense?
Well, I don't have a view on.
Okay. Assuming that he has that view, I'm curious about whether you are the CIA director. Okay, this has happened. We know it's happened. Did Jeff Goldberg somehow, did he create a hoax that allowed him to become part of this signal thread? Please answer the question. You don't insult the intelligence of the American people.
He was added through no effort of his own, right? Somebody added him.
Did he invite himself to the signal thread?
I don't know how he was invited, but clearly he was added.
Clearly it was. Finish your sentence, please.
Clearly he was added to the signal group. Your question is.
You don't know that the president's national security advisor invited him to join the signal thread? Everybody in America knows that. Does the CIA director not know that?
I've seen conflicting reports about who added the reporter to the signal messaging group.
It's perfectly appropriate that there was a reporter added, especially one that the Secretary of Defense says is deceitful, highly discredited, a so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes over and over again. Is your testimony that it was appropriate that he was added to this signal thread?
No, of course not. And
why
Senator,
did you not call?
Hold on, Senator.
You are the
mischaracterizing my testimony.
Good. You answered the question. Let me ask you, when he was added to the thread, you're the CIA director. Why didn't you call out that he was present on the thread?
When everybody was saying this is the most unqualified cabinet in the world, people were like, it's easy. Who cares? It's better than that fucking ugly one we had last time, or that black one, or that woman,
I don't know if you use Signal messaging app.
I do. Not for classified information, not for targeting,
Well, neither
not
do I,
for anything
Senator.
remote.
Neither do I, Senator.
Well,
To be
that's what your
clear.
testimony is today.
It absolutely is not, Senator. Were you
No,
not
I'm saying
listening
your
at the beginning?
No,
When I said that I was using it as permitted, it is permissible
I
to
agree
use.
that's your testimony.
Yeah.
I agree that's your testimony. You asked me if I use it, and I said, not for targeting, not for classified information.
And I said I don't either.
I also know Jeff Goldberg. I don't use it to communicate with him, but you thought it was appropriate. By the way, I think he's one of the more outstanding journalists in America, but I'm shocked to find.
Every time I've been added to a Signal group, the first thing I do is look through all the people. I think what's happening is like whoever made it was the other people. Whoever made it made a mistake. And Stephen Miller or whatever. And then the other people were afraid to ask. Like afraid they would look stupid if they said, who's JG? Because the first thing I do is look to see who all's in it.
Him on a thread that he's reading in the parking lot of a grocery store in Washington, D.C., and your testimony as the director of the CIA is that it's totally appropriate. Is it appropriate?
No,
that the
Director, that is not what I.
Okay,
when did
go
I say
ahead,
it was?
please.
When did I use the word appropriate?
Well, go ahead, please.
Well, I didn't.
That everybody in America.
He's going off. You said you use Telegram only for appropriate reasons. You said that. And then this is one of the reasons you use Telegram for, so you're saying that this is appropriate.
So clearly,
there's nothing to
Senator,
see here is what your testimony is.
No, I never said that.
This is just a normal day at the CIA where we chat about this kind of stuff over Signal. In fact, it's so normal that the last administration left it here for us. That's your testimony today.
That's your testimony.
No, that's
Senator.
not my testimony. That's what you said.
I didn't say any of those things that you just related, Senator.
I heard you say it. We'll let the American people decide. Let me ask you one final point. I'm out of time.
It. Well, are you going to give me a chance?
Is it appropriate? Did you know that the president's Middle East advisor was in Moscow on this thread while you were as director?
Oh my
of the CIA
fucking God.
participating in this thread? Were you aware of that? Are you aware of that today?
I'm not aware of that
This
today.
sloppiness, this incompetence, this disrespect for our intelligence agencies and the personnel who work for them is entirely unacceptable. It's an embarrassment.
Senator,
you need to.
So Russia has very deep ties to Yemen and even the Houthis, even though I think they denounced their ties to the Houthis.
Do better.
The deliberation as to whether or not we should launch a strike on another country, would you consider that classified information, Ms. Gabbard?
Well, the information was not classified.
This is a
This is a hypothetical. You don't have to repeat what the White House is putting out.
This is not, I'm not talking about this. I'm just talking about deliberation as from principles as to whether or not we should launch a strike on another country. Would you consider that classified information? I'm not talking about what happened this week.
There are other factors that would go into determining that classification.
Mr. Ratcliffe, the deliberation between principals in our national security apparatus about whether or not to strike another country, would you consider that to be classified information?
Pre-decisional strike deliberation should be conducted through classified channels.
Yeah, at least he'll fucking admit it. Tulsi Gabbard is such a fucking piece of shit, dude.
We're going to get to the bottom of it. Hey, I appreciate your comments, but you guys have both testified.
Even if we don't know, right? We're sitting around thinking like, well, here's the pros and cons of attacking China, right? Even if we don't know. When we're talking about the decision makers, putting that back and forth, of course that needs to be classified.
Under law, there's nothing classified in that information. There's nothing, in a sense, I've not heard either one of you say, gosh, we screwed up. So we'll find out. This is too important to our national security.
Director Ratcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No, Director Ratcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you'll hold on. A national political reporter
You can characterize it how you want.
was made privy
The White
to
House has
sensitive
made
information
clear
about
that there
imminent
was an
military
inadvertent
operations against a
mistake,
foreign terrorist organization.
An inadvertent mistake, but he can't admit that it was a big mistake.
Mistake of adding a reporter.
And that wasn't a huge mistake? That wasn't a huge mistake?
Well, I think they characterized
This is
it as
an
a mistake.
embarrassment.
The White House characterized it as an inadvertent mistake. I'm not authorized to say it was a huge mistake.
This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology There has been no recognition of.
Yeah, I think Russia's even had like Houthi representatives, speak with Russian representatives about like recognizing them as a country or whatever, as a power, I would say, more than a country. That's wild. We live in a crazy world, dude, where nobody's responsible for anything. They even, again, like most people would say, they even blamed it on the Biden administration. Well, the Biden administration used Signal, and they even told us about it. And they advised the CIA to start using Signal and targeted individuals to start using Signal. Yes, specifically for their day-to-day bullshit. Not for targeting, tempo, weapons packages. Jesus fucking Christ. That's the older millennials whole thing. See if I can find it. Oh, has Sully done any new videos? We'll check in a second. The elder millennial. That's his whole take on it. Did you know that the Biden administration told the CIA to start using it? For what? What did they tell him to start using it for?
All right, so let's talk about the alleged leak through the Signal app. Now, I'm sure by now all of you have heard the allegations, but basically what they're saying is that a reporter from The Atlantic was accidentally added to a national defense group chat in Signal that not only had sensitive information about possible upcoming attacks, but also the timeline and the tactics that could be used. Now, the first thing I
have no respect for somebody who will just show up and lick the fucking balls, even if you support them, right? Even if you support this group, you can still be like, they fucked up, they shouldn't be doing this. But to fucking lick the taint of, well, the Biden administration told the CIA to start using it. For what, exactly? What did they tell them to do? They tell them to make operational decisions on Signal? No? That's weird.
want to say is that The Atlantic is like the National Enquirer of mainstream media. But I'm not saying they're making this up. I'm just saying that in the past, their reporting has been extremely unreliable and extremely fucking biased. But like I said, that doesn't mean they're making it up. Now, one of the biggest questions is why is our national defense executives using Signal? And the answer to that question is that the CIA authorized the use of Signal by national security officials under Biden. And this isn't coming from a media outlet. This is coming from a direct statement by a CIA official. Biden authorized the CIA and other national security officials to start utilizing Signal about 2.5-3 years ago. Second question is who sent the information that was leaked?
It was already being used a ton before that. But still for the same type of for what you would text, right? So what they're saying is if you legally would typically send this in a text message, please be advised you may want to use Signal because it's more secure, end-to-end encrypted, okay? That's it. Not anything you do in a skiff, anything you would, you need some type of approval or decision-making or negotiations or none of that. But basically, you're already going to be doing text messages, right? And we know that we're targeted by Russia and China and fucking Iran and everybody is trying to target us the same way we are with them over the internet. So if it's something you would do in a text message, it's safer to use Signal because it's encrypted end-to-end. Still not up to the level for anything that should be used done in a skiff, but it's better than straight text messages. And it is. And it probably always will be. Unless there's some type of massive overhaul of the text message system, which is you got to get a bunch of different people on board and a bunch of different providers on board. It also tells us that the classification system and the way we interact with that is wildly outdated, right? There should be a government, well, it probably needs to go to private. There should be a private sector app like Signal that's made from a private company and leased by the governments, specifically by the government, that is a level. Maybe it's not like we couldn't send the nuclear codes across it. right? But if it's something that typically we could take it out of a SCIF and make it more convenient for people, as long as you're in a secure room, as long as no one else is around, that kind of deal. Like you could put rules around it. We probably need to revamp our system. This was another thing that came up with the Hillary Clinton emails that they've been bitching about the whole time. There needs to be an overhaul of the system for sure. The way we still do it on paper and rubber stamp classification and shit, that doesn't excuse anything they did. Anything they did.
Now, the claim from the reporter at The Atlantic is that Pete Hegseth sent it. However, Pete Hegseth has denied that. And since it's classified information, neither can really show their cards. So I actually don't think that's a question we're going to get.
Somebody says, somebody in the comments says that maybe Jeff, I heard that Jeff Goldblum was added instead of James Greer. Same initials. James Greer should have been added. Oh, they're fucking that. I guess is that real? Or is that's a character? It's popping up a character in a movie. I think they're just fucking trolling. Oh wait, Jameson Greer, maybe. If you search James Greer, it brings up Jim Greer is the protagonist of Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. He is a careerist in the CIA, so obviously it's not James Greer. But Jameson Greer is an American attorney and Air Force veteran who's serving the 20th United States Trade Representative in the second Trump administration since 2025. So maybe Jameson Greer, because when you first join Signal, your profile picture is just your initials.
Get answered as the American public. That's a question that needs to be answered internally between all the people that actually have clearance to see the information. So that part kind of sucks. Now, the next question is obviously who added this reporter to the Signal chat. Initial reports say that it was a staffer working under the National Security Advisor. And there's been no reports of whether or not this person did that intentionally to be able to leak this information or if it was just a mistake. Regardless, it's a huge OPSEC violation.
Oh, yeah. It was probably the staffer did this intentionally to make Trump look bad because they're left over from Biden.
Like if that staffer added the reporter on accident, which seems awfully unlikely. I mean, when you're adding national security officials to a Signal chat, I would say it's probably very unlikely that you grabbed a reporter's phone number and put it in there. But if it was done accidentally, that staffer should be fired. Now, if it was done intentionally, that staffer should be charged because they're intentionally trying to leak national security information. So hopefully we discover a little more about that person's history and intentions. Because even though Trump did appoint a new national security advisor when he came into office, more than 90% of the people currently working in that office are the same people that were there under Biden. So it's
there it is.
Possible to think one of them might have done this on purpose. Now,
there it is.
What can be done about this? You know, like, are there going to be charges? Are people going to be fired? Are people going to be kicked out? And the answer, if we look at historical context, is...
So basically, first of all, it's not that he had to put in a reporter's number. What happens when you download Signal is it goes through your phone book, and anybody that's in your contacts that also has Signal, it shows them in there, right? And you can just text them. It could have been a slip of the finger, right? They meant to click on this name and clicked on that name.
No. I mean, obviously that staffer will be at the very least fired. But as far as...
All right, guys. He says nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. What does he use as his justification that nothing should be done? He's a Trump supporter. He's the elder millennial. What is he going to use as his justification? You gotta channel it. I've already mentioned it once. You've got to channel it in your mind. What could be used as justification to make this go away? You got to channel your inner Trumpisms. Does lock her up ring a bell? Lock her up.
As everyone else, probably not. I mean, we can use Hillary Clinton's email as an example. They wanted an easier way to communicate. They didn't want to have to go through...
There it is. We can use Hillary Clinton as an example that nothing's going to happen here.
Fired? Are people going to be kicked out? And the answer, if we look at historical context, is no. I mean, obviously that staffer will be at the very least fired. But as far as everyone else, probably not. I mean, we can use Hillary Clinton's email as an example. They wanted an easier way to communicate. They didn't want to have to go through classified channels. So what they did was they started stripping the classifications from it and sending it over uncontrolled media, which is basically what happened here. And I'd like to remind you that even though we had evidence of Hillary Clinton doing all of that, nothing happened to her. So chances are, nothing will happen this time. Now, as a former military man who held a TS clearance myself, this is a gross violation of OPSEC. But if I'm being real, like leaks from the government to reporters is kind of a normal thing. It happens all.
Is this the same as a leak from the government to reporters?
the time, no matter what we do to stop it. But
I hate this guy so much, dude.
At the very least going to be fired, at the very most going to be charged. But I would be willing to say that nothing else is going to come of this, just because historically, nothing has ever come of this. So that's my thoughts on it. As more information comes out, I'll update what I have to say about it. All right, so let's talk about the alleged leak through the...
By the way, Hillary Clinton tried that argument with the right, saying, hey, you know, when I first took this job, I actually reached out to Colin Powell, known Republican, and said, how did you handle this amount of... And he said, we set up our own email server. And she did the exact same thing he did. Not good enough for MAGA. MAGA gets busted on Signal. Hillary's emails.
Usually cheat for two reasons, because there's a lack of emotional availability from their partner, or the obvious other reason.
So let me just see if I understand your reasoning here.
Okay.
If a man cheats, it's because he's a piece of shit. If a woman cheats, it's because her man is a piece of shit. Like, that's what you're saying here. You're making excuses for the woman cheating that are the man's fault. Like, the gaslighting is just fucking top level. How about the person who cheats is a piece of shit? Because even if the guy is emotionally unavailable, or even if the guy is the other reason you said, you could still just leave him. Like, you can just break up with the guy and then go be with anybody you like. And it's the same thing for the guy. I'm not making excuses for men to cheat. There is no excuse for a man to cheat. There's no excuse for a woman to cheat. There is no excuse for anyone to cheat in any relationship. If you don't want to be with that person anymore, don't be with them. But don't stay with them and fuck other people. That makes you the piece of shit. That means that no matter how horrible of a human being...
So what about Hillary's emails?
Because good people don't cheat.
Women usually cheat for two reasons.
Good people don't cheat. God, I hate this dude.
Isn't it ironic that the older millennial...
What Sarah did in this video is called defamation. More specifically, libel. And I'm not going to let it go. See, everything she had to say in this video was a regurgitation of lies
Danger.pill.
Made up about me by this guy. This guy thought it would be okay to try to claim that, one, I beat my ex-wife, and two, that I'm in the DMs of underage girls. And in response, my lawyer currently has paperwork in with TikTok to find out his I can sue him for defamation and libel. And now Sarah will be added to that lawsuit. Because I can be sure with 100% certainty is that, one, I have never laid my hands on any woman. But there's no clarifying statement with that. I have never hit a woman. And two, I have never been in the DMs of an underage girl. In fact, in the 5 years that I've been on TikTok, I've never even sent an unsolicited DM. What they're using to try to claim that I'm in these people's DMs is one of the hundreds of fake accounts here on TikTok, people pretending to be me and trying to scam other people. And I get at least 50 to 100 DMs every day of people telling me they're messaged by these accounts. But like I said, both that Danger Pill guy and Sarah are committing defamation because they are spreading false information with the intention of destroying my reputation. I know they're spreading false information because I didn't do that. In fact, when I first saw his original video, I actually reached out to my ex-wife. I said, hey, are you telling people that I beat you? And her response was, no. Why the fuck would I claim that? So like I said, I already have paperwork in with TikTok to get Danger Pill's real name. Sarah, however, won't be as difficult because she's very public with her real name. So don't worry, Sarah, you'll be receiving paperwork as well. But please remember, people, you can insult people on the internet, you can talk shit, you can call them names, but this type of shit, that's a fucking crime.
Isn't it ironic that the older millennial...
What Sarah did in this video is called defamation, more specifically libel, and I'm not going to let it go.
Not libel. Even when he's right, he's not right. Right? It's not libel. What would libel be? Would be written.
So Harry decided to try his luck back on social media last night, and I'm guessing he was very drunk because he posted this about 2 a.m. This dude actually said, MAGA is mad that I have game, LOL. Oh, and he must have been feeling super bold because he posted the same thing on Snapchat. Luckily, one of his friends or lawyers must have reached out to him real fucking quick because, yeah, he deleted that shit. Like, Harry, what the fuck were you thinking? Of all the shit you could have said, of all the responses you could have given, you really going back to this? Like, let's be real about this second, Harry. Nobody's really getting on you for being a 20-something-year-old
Well, didn't you spend like fucking 5 years calling him gay?
player. Like, bro, really, game? You're massively rich. You get on TV, and you're in college. Well done, sir. The true elimination of the Democrat Party won't actually occur until 2030. But make no mistake, after 2030, the Democrat Party will be irrelevant. And it honestly doesn't even matter who wins in 2028. The Democrat Party's still fucked in 2030. Because in 2030, we have district reapportionment. That is where they evaluate the population of each state and each district, and they assign congressional seats accordingly. And every single factor of that goes against the Democrat Party. Because Democrat states not only lost a shitload of people during COVID, when those people moved to Republican states to escape all the restrictions, but also a lot of people have moved economically. You know, because they have remote jobs, they can go live somewhere with a lower cost of living and still make more money. And then on top of that, you gotta remember that illegal immigrants, though in this country illegally, still count towards the state's population and therefore their representation. And Donald Trump is making quick work of getting rid of millions of them. I mean, shit, just last week, he took away the legal status of 500,000 of them. The vast majority of those being in Democrat states. So therefore, those states lose that population and lose...
2030, we're done for, guys.
Don't take into account the illegal immigrants that are gonna get deported over the next 4 years. California is already set to lose 3 congressional seats. New York's gonna lose 2, and
what do you think will happen when we bring Canada on? They're elder millennial. You think they're big Trump supporters?
Minnesota, Oregon, Rhode Island, and Illinois are all going to lose one. And that's not even counting the illegal immigrants. Like all of those states, when we take into account all the illegal immigrants that are kicked out, they're going to lose way more. And that's also going to contribute to them losing electoral votes. And the cool thing about congressional seats and electoral votes is they don't go away. They just get redistributed to the states that people went to, those being Republican states like Florida and Texas. So in 2030, when we reapportion the districts, you will have to take into account everybody who moved during COVID, everybody who's working remotely and moved economically, and subtract the population of all the illegals that Trump got rid of. Like Democrats, even if you win in 2028, when it gets to 2030, you're fucked. The true elimination of the Democrat Party won't actually occur.
He's got us there. I think in his first Harry video where he addressed it, he's like, the biggest thing that I got out of this is Harry's not gay. What did he say about Trump considering making us part of the UK?
Apparently, we have arrived at the Liberals' latest panic button, Trump being open to the idea of joining the British Commonwealth. They're going with the tag.
Well, he did say that.
Make America British again. That's not what joining the British Commonwealth means. We would not be joining the UK or Britain or England on anything. It's a fucking symbolic membership. Like, did you know that there are 50?
Oh, a symbolic membership. So like when the question was, you're talking about Canada potentially joining the United States as a 51st state. Would you be open if the UK told America to come join and be part of the fucking British? And he's like, yeah, I'd think about it. It's symbolically, guys.
56 associate members of the British Commonwealth, and a shitload of them are former colonies. That's the point. It's meant to show unity and solidarity, even after the It's fucking symbolic, but it does come with perks. Like, even though this comes with no
it's symbology
whatsoever between our countries.
I was a symbologist.
For Americans to be able to go to the UK, or Brits to be able to come to the US for 6 months without needing a visa. It comes with the right to...
Fucking retard, dude. The Harry Sisson thing. I'm pretty sure the very first video he did about Harry was like, well... I'm just surprised he's not gay. I want to say it was a response video. What's this one?
All right, so let's talk about the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. If you're unaware, this is the act that Trump used to deport those 300...
I can't believe how many people listen to him and never check it. Like, there'll be people in the comments saying, man, I'm so glad that you do these because I work all day and I don't get a chance to watch the news. And they just, everything he says, they just eat it up.
Violent gang members. Now, first of all, if your argument is that this is unconstitutional, I want to remind you that this act was signed into law by John Adams. Yes, that John Adams, a man who was physically present for the writing and signing of the Constitution. So if anybody is going to have a better understanding of what is or isn't constitutional, it's going to be John fucking Adams. So that argument is just fucking dumb. Now, as far as determining whether or not this law still applies, was it passed? The answer is yes. Was it signed into law? The answer is yes. Was it ever challenged or taken down? The answer is no. So yes, this law still applies. Trump has every fucking right to use it. And here's the thing, I'm generally in favor of a president having to delay what he's doing because he's challenged by a federal judge. However, you Democrats...
I'm generally in favor of a president having to delay because a federal judge... However, these liberal activist judges...
The answer is no. So yes... This law still applies. Trump has every fucking right to use it. And here's the thing, I'm generally in favor of a president having to delay what he's doing because he's challenged by a federal judge. However, you Democrats have challenged every single thing he's done. Like for the past 2 months,
Yes, as should be.
Every time Trump wants to take an action, even though it's very obvious that it's constitutional, it follows the law, it's completely legal, you still find some random fucking liberal judge who challenges it, and now we gotta take it up through other fucking courts. So I'm sorry, Democrats, but you cried wolf one too many times. Like y'all bitched and moaned and went to a federal judge one too many times. Like let's just be real about this for a second, guys. Our country is better off with these 300 violent gang members out of the country. That's not even...
If they're violent gang members, yes. If they're violent gang members, yes. What proof do you have that any of them are violent gang members? They told you so? Tim fucking Pool, who claims he's not in favor of the death sentence because he doesn't trust the government to get it right, is in favor of 300 unnamed people being deported because the government said they're gang members without even a list of fucking names.
Debatable. Please tell me none of you are willing to debate that. Because if you are, Come debate it with me. I'd love to fucking hear you defend that. I'd love to hear you defend 300 violent fucking gang members who were already in the country illegally, by the way. So they were already subject to deportation. But yeah, Trump had every legal right to do this. And I'm sorry, but I'm just sick and fucking tired of your bullshit fucking judges coming out with dumbass reasons to challenge this stuff. Y'all did this to yourselves. All right, so let's talk about the Alien Enemies Act of 1798.
We have some major breaking news.
Oh, yes, we do, Harry. However, the real massive breaking news is about how you treat women. And look, before y'all tell me this is fake news, you are welcome to go to Sarah is Censored over on X. She has all the receipts. She's got the Snapchats. She's got the text messages. She's got the video messages. She has everything showing how Harry Sisson treats women. How
I saw the girl do an update today, and she's like, somebody in her comments said, so you're mad at Harry because you wanted to date him and he ended up picking another girl and now you're upset. And she's like, no, you guys don't understand. We were exchanging nudes and I told him, I sent him nudes for him to save. And I told him my boundary was, if you're ever talking to any other girl, you have to go through and delete all my nudes. Are you retarded? Is that how you think anything works? Have you ever met another teen or 20-something-year-old? If you ever speak to another girl ever, you have to delete all my nudes. That's not going to happen. Sorry. Once you send them, they're out there. Now, he can't distribute them. He shouldn't be showing them to other people. He shouldn't post them online. But to think that you sent that and then demanding that, the big scandal is he should have deleted every nude he had of me as soon as he talked to another girl. And they're treating it like he's a fucking rapist. What is wrong with you guys?
How he lies to them, how he convinces them to send him explicit messages, that they're wifey material, and that he would never talk to multiple women at the same time. Oh, and then when they call him out for it, he proceeds to gaslight the fuck out of them and try to paint them as insane. Wildly enough, that's not the most surprising part. The most surprising part was watching Dean throw him under the bus within minutes. But yeah, go ahead and head on over and check out Sarah's report on it. It's quite the revelation about your boy Harry.
We have some major breaking news.
We do, Harry. However, the real massive breaking news is
These are all the memes that came out of this. I think we showed some of this, so that's the actual one there. Get drunk and text war plans. Text war plans and get drunk. Hegseth, sweating it out, baby. Sweating it out. You guys have a group chat? Elon was the only one that was involved in this. Wild. I knew we should have used Telegram. If I stop replying, maybe they'll forget I was in the chat. I don't think Donald knows what Signal is. Wait, guys. P. Hegseth is typing. Oh. Mark saved from having my Signal chat's secret war plans embarrassingly exposed today. When I get a text from an unknown number and it's a plan to drone strike Yemen. J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, Jeffrey Goldblum, GRU officer, Michael Waltz, Jeffrey Goldblum just hanging out. Dad, where is Yemen? Why? My group chat says we strike at midnight. Okay, Pete, now add a random journalist to the group chat for the attack in Yemen from the Impractical Jokers. Stag, what's the latest on the weather? The weather looks good for June 6th. Okay, mark that as D-Day for Operation Overlord. Got that, everyone? This is Montgomery, confirmed for the British. Tedder here, confirmed for the air. Lee Mallory, same. Ramsey, confirmed for Neptune. This is a reporter for Volkischer Beobachter. Should I be on this? And then just question marks, exclamation points. Text stop to opt out of war plans. Updates on war plans. Should we draw from the UN? Laugh out loud, yes. I think I read this one the other day. My picture keeps getting bigger. That's probably my favorite one. Somebody keeps changing his profile picture. It's getting bigger. Oh. Trump has demanded the removal of his portrait. We talked about the Trump portrait. In fact, he blamed the governor. So I don't know if you guys know the full story behind this portrait, but I'll try to give it to you by memory, okay? In the Colorado State Capitol, there's a portrait of every president, okay? A hall of portraits of every president, old paintings of every president. Now, typically, that was funded by this group, okay? I don't remember the name of the group, but it was like an art preservation something group, right? And they have nothing to do with the governor. He blames the governor for putting it up. They have nothing to do with the governor at all. They are funded and put up. Well, when Trump became president, the group didn't fund a picture for him. Okay? In fact, because he didn't have a portrait up, the Republicans in Colorado came together and had to start a GoFundMe. To put his to make the painting and put it up for him, okay? They started a GoFundMe. The Republicans in Congress there started a GoFundMe to have his put up. And then they all just donated to it, basically. Now, the original artist had died. And when Trump's picture was missing, some prankster came in and hung a picture of Vladimir Putin there, okay? Then they start the GoFundMe. Then they have this thing. But the original artist who painted all these was dead. The original artist that painted this was dead. They raised $10,000 for a GoFundMe to do this, so they had to get a new artist. Now, this new artist says, look, this isn't exactly my style of painting, but I went and looked at all the other paintings that were made by this artist. I want one that matches, right? I don't want it to be in my style. I want to try to recreate the style of the original artist. And she did, and she did her best, and she made a painting that I think is fine, right? She even says at the time that she made the painting that she got backlash about it because it was non-confrontational and it was too neutral. That like the Trump haters wanted it to be like him being mad or red-faced or something, right? And she's like, that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about. It's like a presidential portrait. So she got hate. The Republicans loved it. The Republicans that funded it loved the portrait. All the way up until like a week ago when Trump texted about it. She got hate from the left because, nope, still wrong for Skiff. She got hate from the left that it wasn't like over the top, not confrontational enough, right? Because the way Trump acts. But the Republicans loved it and put it up. And then Trump comes out and blames the governor. What the fuck is he blaming the governor for? Far left, liberal, lunatic governor. Here's a story. A painting of Donald Trump hanging with other presidential portraits at the Colorado State Capitol will be taken down after Trump claimed that it was purposefully distorted, according to a letter obtained by the Associated Press. House Democrats said in a statement that the oil painting would be taken down at the request of Republican leaders in legislature. Colorado Republicans raised more than $10,000 through a GoFundMe account to commission this oil painting, which was unveiled in 2019. Senate Majority Leader Paul Lundeen, a Republican, said that he requested for Trump's portrait to be taken down and replaced by one that depicts his contemporary likeness. SCIF is SC as in cat, IF. The C stands for compartmentalized. And then the Democrats basically said, if the GOP wants to spend time and money on which portrait of Trump hangs in the Capitol, that's on them. They didn't really oppose it, right? Yeah, it's so far below him that he's like, how did he even find out about this? Like, he saw it on social media, and then he can't help himself. When it has to do with his vanity, this is so far below the president. Like, even if it was him and it was supposed to be a portrait of him and it was like a penis with a fucking comb over, that's still so far below the office of the president. The portrait was installed alongside other paintings of U.S. presidents. Before the installation, a prankster placed a picture of Russian President Vladimir Putin near the spot that was intended for Trump. Initially, people objected to artist Sarah Boardman's depiction of Trump as non-confrontational and thoughtful in the portrait, according to an interview with Colorado Times recorder from the time. So the left was like, you made him look too presidential. But in Sunday night post on Truth Social platform, Trump said he would prefer no picture at all over the one that hangs in the Colorado Capitol. The Republican lauded a nearby portrait of former President Barack Obama, also by Boardman. The same person did this one, saying he looks wonderful. Nobody likes a bad picture or a painting of themselves, but the one in Colorado State Capitol put up by the governor, along with all other presidents, was purposely distorted to a level that even I, perhaps, have never seen before. Again, the governor has nothing to do with this. The portraits are not the purview of the Colorado governor's office, but the Colorado Building Advisory Committee. The ones up to and including President Jimmy Carter were donated as a collection. The others were donated by political parties or, more recently, paid for by outside fundraising. The legislature's executive committee, made up of both Democrats and Republican leadership, signed a letter directing the removal of Trump's portrait. Lundeen, the Republican senator who requested it, noted that Grover Cleveland, whose presidential terms were separated like Trump's, had a portrait from his second term. Boardman did not immediately respond to requests for comment from the Associated Press. In interviews from the time with the Denver Post, Boardman said it was important that her depictions of both Obama and Trump looked apolitical. There will always be dissent, so pleasing one group will always inflame the other. I consider a neutrally thoughtful and non-confrontational portrait allows everyone to reach their own conclusions in their own time, Boardman told the Colorado Times recorder in 2019. Trump's Sunday night comments had prompted a steady stream of visitors to pose for photos with the painting before the announcement that it would be taken down. Aaron Howell, visiting from Wyoming on Monday, stood in front of Trump's portrait, looking down at photos of the president on his phone, then back up at the portrait. Honestly, he looks a little chubby, said Howell of the portrait. You better learn to speak El Salvadoran there, Aaron Howell. Howell said of the portrait, but better than I could do. Quote, I don't know anything about the artist, said Howell, who voted for Trump. It could be taken one way or the other. Kaylee Williamson, an 18-year-old Trump supporter from Arkansas, got a photo with the portrait. I think it looks like him. I guess he's smoother than all the other ones, she said. I think it's fine. He's smoother than all the other presidents? She's got to be talking about like this, the painting style or the texture of the photo. I don't know anybody who would say Trump is smooth. If anything, he looks like 20 grit sandpaper. So again, Trump calls out the governor for no reason. Now, we were just talking. I told you to picture all the horrible shit that Trump has said about people. Right? All the horrible shit Trump said and claimed just since he's been running for president. Forget anything prior to 2016. all the horrible nicknames, horrible things he said, the way he acted like the disabled reporter, the way he talked to women, the references he used to other people and gave them nicknames and talked shit about them. All the things Trump have said. Guess what the right is upset about? Out of everything Trump has said, even a left lunatic Democrat governor who put up my portrait, who had nothing to do with it. He always blames the wrong person. Guess what the Republicans are currently upset about? Nothing Trump has ever said. The Republicans are mad at Jasmine Crockett.
Well, Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is going viral for all the wrong reasons. Here she was during a speech at the Human Rights Campaign Los Angeles dinner.
A lot of people see you out front fighting, but nobody's really asking you, what do you need to maintain that fight? So thank you so much, Morgan, because we in these hot Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
She called Greg Abbott Governor Hot Wheels.
And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot mess, honey. So,
And the only thing hot about him is he's a hot ass mess.
So yes.
If you don't know, Greg Abbott's in a wheelchair. But out of all the horrible, subhuman comments that Trump has made about people, they're losing their fucking mind and asking to censure her in Congress for saying Governor Hot Wheels of Texas.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett also,
I think, towards the
for Republicans and Senator Ted Cruz earlier this month. During an
So yes.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett also had some fighting words for Republicans and Senator Ted Cruz earlier this month. During an interview with NBC DFW, the interviewers asked her how Democrats could win elections in a red state like Texas. Here's her response.
I think you punch. I think you're okay. You okay with punching? You know, I think, and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head, like, hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him, like, at all. Like, you go clean off on him.
CNN pundit Scott Jennings tweeted, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, has used a wheelchair since 1984 when he was tragically paralyzed in an accident. Today, the unquestioned leader of the Democratic Party...
No one cares. Fuck Greg Abbott and his Hot Wheels fucking having ass. When has Greg Abbott stood up for a single fucking person that Trump has said horrible shit against? He's disabled. Where's him going off on Trump about making fun of the disabled reporter? They took it to this level, and then they cry foul when anybody else is at their level.
Representative Jasmine Crockett mocked him with the insult, Governor Hot Wheels. So that is why that is indeed a really cruel thing to say about him, Governor Hot Wheels. He's in a wheelchair. I think that's a really gross comment. And whatever, I'm not the biggest person being like, oh, we all can only have civility. You can never make fun of people, whatever. But when Democrats or liberals act like it's just there's only cruelty on the right and it's just the Trump people who are so callous, and then she's at an awards dinner for the Human Rights Campaign for the very people who aspire to some kind of loftier rhetoric and humane treatment, and that's what she says. Oh my goodness.
You can't imagine any president on the left or the right talking that way 20, 30 years ago, and just the diminishment of the level of discourse is wrong. She's not, however, the undisputed leader of the Democratic Party, so don't try to lay that on us. I think she's doing a lot of good work, but I certainly don't appreciate that comment. I don't think it's good for Democrats, and it's not good for
There's the undisputed leader of the Democratic Party. Far from the leader.
For disabled people. It's not good. But
she's definitely making a name for herself. She's definitely coming up, right? And I think right now, as long as she doesn't do something like way crazy, like this little Hot Wheels or like you got a punch, I think that's a lot of name recognition she's getting right now, right? Even if it's bad press, it's press, just like Trump. Basically, Trump showed us Trump is a shitty politician. If Trump was a political mastermind, this motherfucker could be ruling the world by now. He's a shitty politician, But what he showed us is that with the level of brain rot we have going on right now, that basically anybody can win the presidency with enough name recognition. Right? It's like a reality TV show. So she needs some name recognition, and she's getting it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear you say that. It was very, very bad, very offensive. I guess I don't, and then the punt hitting, she meant it, rhetorically fine. I don't think she meant to actually advocate violence.
No. She said it hit harder, and a lot of people feel that way. But he was in a tough spot because he was.
But when conservatives say that, then they say, oh, this is more that violent right-wing rhetoric. I think there's too much.
We're not the ones who had pictures of crosshairs. I don't think she meant anything like that. They did.
Who cares?
That was not us. But you know what? That's not the level of.
And that was wrongly blamed for the shooting of Gabrielle Giffords. It had nothing to do with that.
Oh no, I didn't say that the Republicans shot Gabby Giffords.
No. But the line that, in fact, that the New York Times used was that the shooter was motivated by the violent rhetoric of Republicans, and they pointed to what you just pointed to, the targets over districts. There's no evidence whatsoever. He did not, in fact, ever see that. He was not
have evidence of what's going on in someone's mind, but I don't conclude that he was guided by that or influenced by that. I think all of us just need to learn a lesson. We must become more nonviolent in our hearts. We must become kinder. We must become more respectful. That's why I think when you and I do agree on something, I hope we're modeling something that's good for people, because I agree with Eisenhower that the American mind at its best is both liberal and conservative. There are high-minded conservative principles. There are high-minded liberal principles. No one has a monopoly on truth. No one owns this country. The greatness of America is that we don't have to agree. The greatness of America is e pluribus unum. We don't have to pray the same way, look the same way, talk the same way, believe the same way. We are united by our common fealty to certain underlying principles. And in that place, we're all Americans. We have to get back to that. We're losing the fabric, the social fabric that makes us United States. We're becoming every day more disunited states. And I think each and every one of us have to take responsibility for reweaving that fabric. And that's why when we can agree, let's do agree and certainly see the common humanity in each other. I see the common humanity in you. You see
the humanity in you as well, of course, Marianne. And, I don't love violence.
That was Sarah Palin that put out the weird crosshairs of the United States, right? And there just happened to be one crosshair that was literally in Arizona where Gabby Gifford was shot. I think.
Rhetoric, either sometimes with pointing guns at liberal media, TVs, and shit, and they're like, come on, God. In fact, I just find it distracting. Like, to actually work to achieve policies that I think would be good instead of just this kind of tough guy posturing that a lot of people do on the right that I find unhelpful. But this is an example of it's not tough guy necessarily, but it's a kind of posturing going on among the resistance media that what is she actually doing to thwart?
All she said was hit him harder. I mean, that wasn't violent language. That wasn't violent language.
You think she's being effective? What is she being effective at? It's just.
She was talking about a race in Texas where Colin Allred didn't come out against Ted Cruz in the way that she thought he should, because he knew how many conservatives he had to deal with in a red state. And some of listen, I agree with her more that we've just got to come tougher. We've got to come at it. We've got to, in that sense, fight harder. That doesn't mean you hit somebody or shoot somebody. It just means in the political rough and tumble, sometimes you got to fight harder. I look at my own situations in places where I should have fought harder.
I mean, it depends what that means by fighting harder. Like,
well, that's what I know. It means coming. In political terms, it means, in my case, it would have meant responding more to my critics, more passionate to my critics, pointing out where they were lying and all of that kind of stuff.
Not being afraid to maybe piss off some Republicans, even though you're in a high Republican area. You still got to call him out for what he is.
You always have to say, well, does that sound defensive and all of that kind of stuff. But the point is, we do need to hit harder politically, non-violently, at people that we feel are truly gutting the U.S. government and causing tremendous.
Are they going to fight each other?
There's problems for many, many people.
Very interested to see if the human rights campaign.
You guys remember when Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg were going to cage match?
Announces the person they just celebrated at their dinner for the remark she made, Jasmine Crockett.
Well, we just did, so they don't need to.
I think they might feel some pressure to respond to who they are platforming, use expression. Democrats love. Okay, we've got more to come on Rising. Stay with us.
Elon Musk may be at the center of the split over the Daily Wire. Did you guys hear that Jeremy Boring left the Daily Wire, right? Jeremy Boring, which is a longtime CEO, had that back and forth with Crowder, basically been in all this stuff with like Candace Owens and the other people that have left and been replaced and all that shit. Jeremy Boring, you couldn't have a better name for the fucking Daily Wire CEO. Jeremy Boring left, and Elon Musk may be to blame.
Going on at Daily Wire. I don't know if people have been following this. I haven't been following it too closely, but apparently the co-founder, guy named, maybe appropriately so, I've seen some of his movies that he's made over there.
Yes, very boring.
Jeffrey Boring.
Jeremy.
Jeremy Boring has left under what appears to be some very sort of odd and abrupt circumstances.
Former Daily Wire talent are taking shots at him, Candace Owens, also Brett Cooper.
Interesting. Which is weird. I mean, those are people who've been jettisoned from the company. Yep. So you might expect that they would have some axes to grind. However, you would also assume that they would have grinded those axes earlier. But maybe after he leaves, they're not as worried about the NDAs that they've signed, and so maybe that's part of it. It's unclear.
Apparently, Hassan has put out a claim that the IDF might drone strike him, the Twitch streamer.
This is all speculation, but it would be irresponsible not to speculate. Nevertheless, here is Ben Shapiro, seemingly just cool as a cucumber, not worrying about the house burning down around him.
Show that they're very deeply afraid of what Musk is doing. And what is Musk doing at this point? What Musk is doing is firing a lot of people. He's not actually doing the firing. He's advising the Trump administration.
Pause it for 1 second. Now, Shapiro can't say that Musk is doing the firing because it gets back to all these court cases that have said, wait a second.
No, Musk isn't doing anything. He makes very gentle and non-antagonistic suggestions.
How can Musk be firing people, bringing people in, hiring people? He's clearly hired people if he's not actually working for the government. He's clearly hired people. And the person that they supposedly say is doing all the hiring and firing, hiring of the Doge people, firing of everybody else in the government, was a woman when she got contacted, when they said the administration said she was in charge of Doge.
I'm in Cabo.
Was in Cabo or somewhere in Mexico and took a phone call and was like, I didn't know this was public. So he's got to say this just because he's able to be outraged by the court cases that later didn't know this. When they said the administration said she was all the hiring and firing, hiring of the Doge people, firing of everybody else in the government, was a woman when she got contacted, when they said the administration said she was in charge of Doge.
I'm in Cabo.
Was in Cabo or somewhere.
Yes. So the person they claim is actually the head of Doge, when finally got contacted, she's been on vacation in Mexico and had no idea that they were calling her in her official capacity as the head of Doge, right? It's just so Elon Musk doesn't have to follow any rules. He's the actual head, but they've got somebody else they've named as the head of Doge.
In Mexico and took a phone call and was like, I didn't know this was public. So he's got to say this just because he's able to be outraged by the court cases that later say that he did this. Now, did someone draw on this? What is going on? There's like a weird...
I didn't notice that until you said What do you mean?
There's weird stuff going on there.
Oh,
Go ahead.
a little bit dark spot in the...
That's unfortunate.
He's also acting as a sort of public relations shield for the Trump administration, because everybody can hate on Musk, but he's an unelected official, so there's nothing for them to really do about it. In reality, if you're mad at Trump, you should be mad at Trump. If you don't like that Musk is doing what he's doing, you should be angry at Trump if you're on the left, not at Musk. Musk is just a messenger. He's the outside consultant who's been called in. If you don't like the firings, that responsibility does not lie directly with Elon Musk. That responsibility lies elsewhere. But for the left, it is indicative of where the left's mindset is.
Pause it for a second.
Shocking.
I can also be mad at Trump and Musk.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, what is the advice that Shapiro is giving here? He's giving advice to the left, or he's just saying like, he's just like being parental.
It's funny because like there is a grain of truth that I think there's certain folks that are responding, like people are angry at Musk, and I'm not saying the left, but just the general population and giving Trump sort of a break on stuff, which is a problem if Elon is serving as sort of like
shield.
Yeah.
Yes. Let me suggest this. Not only should we not be, we should be mad at Trump, we should be mad at every single Republican and every conservative like you.
Right. That's my concern about the overfocus on Musk. Like just from our perspective, like there's been now his polling is just completely cratered. So it could be another way to say attack Republicans by not saying the word Republican, by saying MAGA instead of Republican, by saying Musk instead of Republican. But what's Shapiro's motivation here, other than the fact that he wants to suck up to Elon because maybe money's drying up and Elon's got an endless supply? He's not talking about any of that. He's going to bring us all home to how the left was wrong about the great financial crisis.
Oh, cool. But for the left, it is indicative of where the left's mindset is. The problem, shockingly, is never the government. It really is an amazing thing. I'm old enough to remember the Occupy Wall Street movement. So back during the recession of 2007, stretching all the way through 2009, during that recession, two sort of groups sprang up, and they were making similar cases from different angles. One was the Tea Party. I was a charter member of the Tea Party. Didn't actually have a membership card or anything, but basically the Tea Party was about reducing government spending.
Hold on for 1 second. I did receive a lot of funding from the Koch brothers, so that's what I'm talking about. First of all, the start of the Tea Party, I think he was in junior high when the Koch brothers were funding him back then, came from Ron Paul in his 2008 primary election. And then it was subsumed by the broader Koch brother-inspired movement and was really launched when a CNBC reporter sat on the ground and basically blamed homeowners for the financial crisis. And what's fascinating is that he's not even going to recognize what was the first sort of cri de coeur, if you will, of the Tea Party, realizing that it came literally from Wall Street, literally from the trading floor. Go ahead.
Didn't actually have a membership card or anything, but basically the Tea Party was about reducing government spending. The idea was that the government's intervention in the economy had led to the real estate recession and general recession in the United States. And so the Tea Party focused its efforts on lobbying the government. I'm saying the government should cut. The government should restructure itself.
First of all, this is a complete fabrication. The Tea Party rose up in response to, and let's be clear, it was George Bush who was the president when the Tea Party, sort of like the nascent Tea Party started. Right. The whole issue was they didn't want the government to bail out homeowners. Yep. Not that there was government spending prior to that. There was a $700 trillion bailout, billion dollar bailout in the wake of the financial crisis. 2/3 of which were tax cuts. The bailouts that were happening, to the extent that there was any significant bailouts, were going to the banks. And the Tea Party people completely allied to that. Yeah. So everything he's saying is not true about the Tea Party.
It's a crazy reading. It's also not true about the financial crisis. Did I mishear him? And he said that the Tea Party was against basically bailouts causing the financial crisis? It's the old theory. If it wasn't for the government being involved in the housing mortgage markets, then there wouldn't have been no crisis.
The fake story for them was it was a Community Reinvestment Act that opened up ownership opportunities for low-income or middle-income people to buy homes. But the fact of the matter is that there's a reason why they call them loan officers at banks. Exactly. They are supposed to have a fiduciary duty to protect the banking system, and they didn't. And they put people into loans, and they fraudulently put people into loans, both committing fraud against the people who are borrowing the money and the people who didn't. And what you ended up getting was a lot of people who were over-leveraged. And of course, all of these junk loans were repackaged and then repackaged again into financial instruments, which people invested in. And commercial banks, what used to be considered vanilla banks before government deregulation in the 90s, started, the repeal of Glass-Steagall started to take commercial funds and basically gamble on these derivatives of loans, and nobody knew what was in there, and they were all junk.
That's the government intervention that set us on this course, was the removal of the firewall between commercial banking and risky gambling.
They were all junk. They were. If you bundled enough AAA with enough C's, then you got a AA rating. It was crazy.
He's pretending that it's this fake.
There was a stripper in Florida that was getting home loans. She had 2 home loans in her name, one in her official name, one in her stripper name, and she got approved for a home loan in her dog's name.
Because the CRA was their code word for saying that too many black people got homes.
By the way, this fits in quite nicely with his outrage over people, being sympathetic.
Dude, before that, apparently it was so easy to get a home loan. So easy to get a home loan.
To Luigi Mangione.
Makes sense, because you're going to lobby somebody, lobby the government. Occupy Wall Street, as the name would suggest, did not occupy Washington, D.C. They occupied Wall Street, which was not answerable to them in any way. And it basically ended up being a bunch of anarchists and fellow travelers who pitched tents, not near houses of government, but near great centers of finance and industry. Yeah. Because the private sector had to be
industry.
The public sector never.
Yeah. Are those synonyms? Finance and industry? What industry is down there? Finance.
Finance and industry. Because the private sector had to be to blame. The public sector was never to blame. And you can see that in the hatred of Tesla. Tesla has literally nothing to do with what Elon Musk is doing. Joining us online is...
No, you idiot. The reason...
Why would people be lashing out against Tesla? It could be our evil master plan to make Republicans take global warming seriously and buy electric vehicles if they can afford them.
People are protesting Tesla is because of what we described yesterday, which is this is the best mechanism to put pressure on a billionaire who is unelected ransacking our federal government. It is
That's right.
His pocketbook hurts, and as
That's right.
It looks like he may have used his stock portfolio in Tesla as a way to buy Twitter and put up the collateral that he needed to purchase Twitter. If that dips below a specific price, his stock price dips, then he may not have the funds, and there may be some issues with his financing of a large social media platform, which he essentially destroyed and made it into a bunch of bots and right-wingers, so that he could further a disinformation campaign that got Donald Trump elected, so he could keep getting rich. In fact, without with the midterms being a little over 2 years or a little under 2 years away, this is the only way, in many ways, that people can respond, is by hitting the pocketbook of Elon Musk.
And I would also add, I want equity for all those loans that we gave and all those subsidies we gave to Tesla. How's that? Yeah. Talk about inefficiency. Let's kick back some of that money. I wonder why Shapiro is being so cloying in this.
To the richest man in the world? It's a big mystery.
I'm sorry. I apologize for being such an idiot.
Yeah, that's what they're all there. He's auditioning a little bit. Dance, Ben. Dance for Elon. Dance for the guy that did the Sig Heil. For emphasis and clarity, as AOC said on the day. Just keep sucking up to that guy. It's the left-wingers that want to stop one of the worst crimes committed in modern humanity right now against the Palestinians. They're the anti-Semites, not the guy that Sig Heil.
I don't know. I would like to know the story. There's something juicy there about Jeremy Boring leaving the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro addresses it.
Big news out of the Daily Wire on 2 fronts. First of all, you made news by calling for Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin. And this has led to a bunch of people saying, no, that's not a good idea, including our next guest, Stephen A. Smith, who doesn't like it, but Jason Whitlock, who's over at, he's got his own show, and he doesn't like it for an interesting reason. He's at The Blaze, and we teed it up, and then you'll tell us why it's a good idea. Here he is.
I don't want Derek to have to take one for the team forever. I don't want that. I just think there's a much harder road for freedom for Derek Chauvin that has to be traveled. And so, if they were out like, hey, we're raising money for Derek Chauvin's defense team, I'm all for that. A pardon, almost, and even as bogus as I think the trial was, I think it would be inappropriate. I think a federal pardon, though, at this point would sidetrack so much that needs to transpire under the Trump administration. And I think it would, the inroads that Trump has made with black voters, I think would be destroyed. And this is all anybody would talk about, is Trump and Derek Chauvin, and look how racist Trump is. This is like the Central Park Five all over again.
That last point is a really interesting one, Ben. Take it from there.
Yes, I mean, on the pragmatic level, I don't think that's a terrible argument. I think that on a moral level, if you're going to build a groundswell for the pardon of a person who I believe to be in jail and innocent, then you guys should start that groundswell somewhere. And so actually opening the door to that conversation is something that I'm trying to do at pardonderek.com. By the way, we are working with their legal team. So this idea that the legal team is not interested in this or that they're against it.
Elon Musk called Hassan Piker a chicken shit retard.
That's not true. I mean, the actual fact of the matter is that if you were to receive a pardon on the federal charges, you would almost certainly serve less time in jail than he is currently going to serve, because you got certain time off under the Minnesota state statute that you wouldn't get under the federal statute. But as far as the sort of pragmatic argument, my view of that is that that's President Trump's decision, and I totally understand if he doesn't want to do that until, say, after the next election. But it takes a groundswell of support for a thing to happen, and that groundswell needs to start building somewhere. The argument that Jason is making there, which obviously I think he agrees with my argument, is that Chauvin is actually in jail unjustly. That to me is the bigger issue. Is Chauvin in jail unjustly? If he's in jail unjustly, then we should all be saying that he should receive a pardon. And then again, I'm not saying that he has to be pardoned today. I'm not in Trump's chair, and I'm not his chief political advisor, nor nor is that my job. My job is to speak up where I think an injustice is being done. In the case of Chauvin, it certainly is an injustice being done.
He definitely did not get a fair trial, and there is zero doubt of that. I mean, the in-depth documentary done by Alpha News out of Minnesota will convince anybody of that. If you take a look at that, it's absolutely horrifying what they did to pressure their way into a guilty verdict. Okay, and then last but not least, the so-called God King of the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, who's been on this podcast many times, who is your partner in founding the Daily Wire, is no longer co-CEO, along with Caleb, who was his co-CEO for years, and now he's going to be doing something else. So there's all sorts of chatter about this online, Ben. People's tongues are along with Caleb. Daily Wire, Jeremy Boring, who's been on this podcast many times, who is your partner in founding the Daily Wire, is no longer co-CEO, along with Caleb, who was his co-CEO for years, and now he's going to be doing something else. So there's all sorts of chatter about this online, Ben. People's tongues are wagging. People who used to work for the Daily Wire suggesting this was a terrible implosion and that Jeremy was impossible to work for, etc. What is the truth?
I mean, the truth is that Jeremy stepped down to pursue things like Pendragon, which is the single biggest, I think, entertainment offering ever put forward on the right side of the aisle, like ever by a long stretch.
It's like a Game of Thrones series that you guys are
unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it's like high fantasy, Arthurian legend, 7 episodes at very high cost. I mean, it is a major, massive project, and he has to go and he has to edit that. We have to figure out exactly how we're going to market that. We have other creative projects that Jeremy's going to work on, that Jeremy wants to work on, that Jeremy is involved with.
God damn it, I hope their stupid shit fails. I hope their stupid shit fails. This whole fucking movies and shows and Pendragon is now their show. It's like Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table in Roman occupied Britain. Yeah.
And frankly, the day-to-day management of a very large and growing company was not, I think, in his view, conciliant with...
Name another CEO that steps down to take on a passion project like this. Like, I don't think that's true.
With that mission, which is for him to do more creative projects, to do more on the entertainment side. And frankly, I think for Jeremy, that's where a lot of his heart is as well. And so he wanted to put more focus in that as we mature as a company. As far as all of these sort of bizarre rumors that we're in serious trouble. Oh no, everything is bullshit. I mean, as somebody who looks at the balance sheet, I can tell you that is certainly not the case. And we are healthy, we are growing, we are thriving. We have extremely big moves that we are looking forward to making this year.
Tariff wars, stubborn inflation. No wonder gold has been...
Damn, I'd like to hear the story. I want to know what actually happened. We got to check in with one of our longtime fan of the show. Sully has no more new videos, I don't think. Sarah, Trooper Sarah, as some may know, she's been having a rough time. She's been having a rough go at it. She is currently locked up. I don't know what are you doing here? I can't play the music. What? Did it wink at you? It winked at me. Sarah, stop it. I'm going to have to close this video. She's on the handicap accessible rail. Yeah, we can't watch that again. We get fucking banned. What the fuck was that, dude?
Are today.
This is the one I was looking for.
Proceedings are today.
Court proceedings.
Which means that I have a big duty to fill, and it's going to be fun because I have a lot of dirt on the people who called in for Loveland PD to pull me over when I had my Enterprise rental car and it was overdue a couple of days through the rental car company. I have a lot of dirt on the people who called that in because the officer told me he went straight from the station directly to my location and knew my whereabouts based on the caller who called my car in as stolen. And the only person who would have known that my car was stolen was someone who had access to my text messages because it was broadcasted on my text message. And during that time period, during the couple of days that it was registered as stolen, I could not communicate through Enterprise rental car because my phone service was turned off. I was in the middle of door dashing and getting my life together so that I could pay my phone bill and then pay the car bill so that I could continue doing what I was doing, which was traveling around and trying to figure out what the...
So basically, we could never figure out why she lost her car. She was in a rental car and it expired. So if they do a rental car, she says in a second like her phone wasn't working either. If you do a rental car and you don't return it on time and they try to call you and you don't answer, of course they're going to report it stolen. She claims that somebody hacked her phone and that wasn't working at the time and that's how they knew where her rental car was. most rental places have like fucking some type of tracking on a lot of their vehicles. But even if they just put a bolo out, a lot of police cars use camera systems to run tags automatically. So she got pulled over in a stolen vehicle. It belonged to the rental company, and that's why she went to buses, and that's probably led to her lockup and everything else. But she's supposedly fighting those people in court, the people who called her in with a stolen car.
The next place would be for me to settle down in, since I was attacked in San Bernardino. I didn't feel safe in San Bernardino. I didn't feel safe in California, even if it were just a trauma response telling me that. Ultimately, with the gang activity that I was forcefully involved with through being a victim of that strangulation, I knew it just was not safe for me to be in Southern California. I thought maybe Northern California. I went to Northern California. I wanted to finish my school, get my law degree. I went up there. Just something about it didn't feel right. I felt like I didn't have enough funds to settle down there. So I just kept going up north. I thought maybe Oregon, maybe Washington. I've lived in both of those states before. Both of those states I went to and just didn't particularly like the way that I felt in them. I love the states. I love Oregon and Washington. Every day is an adventure. I feel like, a dinosaur in Jurassic Park, and there's always something to do. You don't need money to have fun in Oregon and Washington. The people are really nice. The coffee is really good. It's all drive-through. It's an amazing place to be. But what was troubling me the most was just the way that I felt, because I could not help but remember the last car camping trip that I had in Washington and Oregon.
Oh, car camping trip. Got it.
Adopted family was deceased. During this trip, I had no idea what was going on back down home. I was just having the time of my life, healing emotional trauma wounds due to, being a victim of sex trafficking when I was a young kid, and figuring that out through EMDR for the first time at 27, uncovering all of those memories. I was basically just using that trip in 2023 to heal all of those childhood wounds so that I could go back to my family and be a better person for them, be able to show up better for them, because I felt like I was too much into me and my problems, and not being able to focus on external problems. I got to that point, and then I had a whirlwind of a tech romance with someone I met in Nevada who pulled me over, who was bad news bears. I didn't know who the fuck he was. Turns out he's one of the most wanted men in the country right now. He wasn't at the time that I met him, but now he is. Tyler Pickett, and he destroyed my.
It's very hard to keep up with, but it's never her fault. She's always a professional victim.
I ended up totaling my car out when I was hiking, and that's when that stint ended. It was a 3-month stint when I was out car camping. And then that ended that, but that's kind of the reason why I could not stay in Washington, because all those memories, even though they're good memories, it still was damn, last time, when I was here, I thought I was gonna go home to my family. And I went home to find out that all my family members were gone. So that's not a good feeling, to have to revisit, even though it's such a beautiful place.
What is in that blue juice?
I really do. I wish I would have allowed myself to stay there, because if I did, I probably wouldn't be dealing with any of this shit. But I'm here for a reason,
Could you imagine being the wealthiest man in the world and still getting in arguments with random people on Twitter?
And that reason is still kind of unknown to me, but I do know that everyone who was involved in, the attempt of my reputation tanking, my commodities tanking, my, bank accounts tanking and being locked to the point of me not even being able to access my bank accounts at this point, my property being stolen from me while in possession of the police, while I was in county. $2,000 worth of equipment that I could have lived off of for these past couple of weeks was stolen in the possession of the police, and I still had the key fob. So whoever stole all of my stuff also had access to the car, because there was no tampering on any of the locks on the car.
Okay.
The officer who arrested me and was able to confirm the items that he was not able to bring with him to Loveland PD station, and therefore had to leave in the car. And he confirmed that on somebody else's body cam. So there's no, forging evidence at this point. The police stole $2,000 worth of equipment, left me out to dry, took my car away, put me in jail for the first time in my life, and gave me a felony that I have to work to expunge from my record, and I already know how I'm going to do that based upon all the blackmail that I was able to receive from the people who harassed me to put me in this position. The people who put me in this position are very satanic sex cult members. I'm not going to be saying this in court, obviously, but the magistrate that I'm going to be dealing with is a member of one of these sex cults with Alex Honnold, and that's how the whole connection happened. And then there was Tim Braun, who I thought was a police officer. Turned out he's just a victim specialist that, I don't know, like sometimes works at the police department, even though his business card says police. So I was fooled by all these people that are working under the same sex cults. These sex cults include their children from time.
The sex cults?
They call themselves poly swingers. That's just a code name for demonic pedophiles. And all of these people are involved in those activities. And my team was able to get concrete evidence that I will be able to use in court when I do sue the people directly who are involved in all of the criminal activities that I've been a victim of in these past 2.5 weeks within Colorado state borders. My father had to come here. My second adopted father had to come out here and remedy the whole situation because he knew who the magistrate was and felt like he was partially responsible for the reason why she treated me the way that she did, because he stood her up apparently. So there's a lot of like personal vengeance that they have as to the reasons why they're trying to get away with what they're getting away with, but it's not going to work. I mean, I have God on my side. I have a lot of good people working on the government, working for the government on my side.
Okay.
Work for the government, you know, they didn't want to cover until the very last second. That's on you.
You tried to convince the cops you were undercover?
You know, not my problem. I told you many times. You know, my men are like geese. Like when there's a threat around me, they come and they attack. You know, it's just what happens. They got to protect their queen. You know, they're
My men are like geese? Is that what she said?
Attack. You know, it's just what happens. They got to protect their queen. Government, you know, they didn't want to believe I was undercover until the very last second. That's on you. You know, not my problem. I told you many times. You know, my men are like geese. Like when there's a threat around me, they come and they attack. You know,
fascinating.
They got to protect their queen. You know, they're celibate, sober queen, and obviously you aren't.
They're celibate, sober queen. All right, here, listen to this audio clip.
We're going to get to the bottom of it. I just talked to Elon on the way here. We've got the best technical minds looking at how this happened, but I can tell you for 100%, I don't know this guy. I know him by his horrible reputation, and he really is the bottom scum of journalists. And I know him in the sense that he hates the president, but I don't text him. He wasn't on my phone, and we're going to figure out how this happened.
So you don't know.
We're going to get...
So he was added by the guy who made the fucking group. That's Mike Waltz. I got Elon. We're going to get the best tech geniuses to see how this journalist was added to our Signal group. You think they hacked your Signal group and added a journalist to it? You think that's what happened? Fucking idiots, dude. The whole goddamn Trump administration is so fucking retarded.
Segment's called No Bullshit Sarah, where we do a rundown of all the crimes.
Okay, no bullshit, Sarah.
Against me by the people who are on the other side of this court case. Over $2,000 worth of property stolen while in possession of the police that I have statements for, because every single one of those products was brand new, purchased brand new with my debit card. So I have bank statements to prove the value of how much was stolen. And it wasn't just like clothes and toiletries and stuff like that. It was like social security card, like prescription glasses, another phone that I had that I would have been able to dial out on. That was like a government phone that I was using when I wasn't able to use this phone for this service. Just a lot of different stuff that was stolen. Just like stuff that it wasn't valuable, but the total accumulative monetary value was over $2,000. Poisoning through contaminated water at the shower I took at Anytime Fitness in Denver, which led to hospitalization for abdominal pain and diarrhea, which I've never experienced before. I had 8 hours worth of diarrhea, so painful that I literally had to go to the emergency room in an ambulance because there was just no way that I was able to make it there on my own through the night. And that diarrhea started happening 2 hours after I got out of that shower with the contaminated substances that were in it. And I knew it was contaminated because the water heater turned off 4 minutes into the shower. That's never, if you work for the CIA, that's never a good sign. Cyber terrorism, basically.
Okay.
Trying to control my phone storage. I pay $10 a month for 2 terabytes of storage on iCloud to make sure that I can properly document everything that goes on around me. In some certain counties, I wasn't able to do that. They would shut off my storage, even though it was very prevalent that I had a lot of storage left, because if the storage doesn't transfer over to the iCloud, then it shows up as not having enough storage, and there's nothing I can do, even by backing up my iCloud, that would relieve that storage other than deleting like previous videos that I had taken in order to free up storage for me to take more videos.
She's a big fan of the show.
But this is very inconducive for...
Yes. So one of the biggest issues is you can use Signal, but if it's any type of in an official capacity, it has to be sent to another account that are one of the logged accounts. So Signal, not just using Signal, you could use it and send it somewhere else that logs it for record keeping. But even more so, they had vanish mode on, which basically after 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever time you set, deletes all the messages. So what else are they talking about in official capacity? And then the American people will never know about it. It should be part of their record keeping, yes.
For their plan of making sure that I have as least evidence as possible through video journaling because they know it's very damning. A lot of people don't understand cyber terrorism because they don't understand social media, but
okay.
If you understand technology and social media, you should be able to understand cyber terrorism, but unfortunately our day and age just has not reached that IQ level yet. So when you mention cyber terrorism to anyone, they're just like...
Our day and age has not reached that IQ level yet.
You didn't say anything that would match the description of cyber terrorism. That's what they act when I say it.
Did y'all see that? It is very shady. So one of their arguments is like the Biden administration told, highly targeted for hacking people in the government to use Signal. And that is true. So anything that these people, not for that don't have to keep record, like at the CIA or whatever, if they're known targets for hacking their phone, anything you're going to send in a text message, you should probably use Signal for because it's got end-to-end encryption. And that was the suggestion. But at no point in time, actually the briefs now, I was talking to a guy that's in the military now, pretty high command. But the security briefings now, because the military and contractors and the CIA and even congressmen use Signal to keep their text messages from getting hacked. When you go into security clearance briefing, they specifically tell you your day-to-day stuff, you're texting your wife, you're texting your buddies, you're going to meet, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. All of that's fine and should probably be on Signal. Anything that requires a security clearance or a SCIF or some type of process to keep it safe cannot be on Signal. They literally bring it up in the briefing you get about classified information of what's allowed on Signal and what's not. It's better than text messaging. It's not good for official record keeping, obviously, and it violates that. And it's not good enough for anything above like regular text messaging. If you wouldn't send it in an unsecured group chat text, you cannot send it on Signal, no matter if it's end-to-end encrypted or not.
Like, you cannot mention cyber terrorism to city police because they will literally start drooling. And then stalking these men keep stalking me, and then the women are stalking the men stalking me. For the past 2.5 weeks, it's been like this. The weekends are fucking hell when the cops don't have work. Oh my fucking God, dude. When the cops are not at work and they're with their wives, oh my God, these past 2 weekends have been fucking hell. There was a cop that pat me down, slapped my ass. He wasn't supposed to do that. There was another cop that I thought was a cop that was rubbing my back from like a big...
You would think they would be heavily medicating her. I don't know, dude. She's pushing through it.
5 minutes, he wasn't supposed to be doing that in front of a fucking security camera. Both of these men have wives. Like, what the fuck? Just make me a target. It's not even like...
Yeah, we covered that at the first of the show.
They love their wives. They're just trying to, or even me, they're just trying to figure out a way to get out of their marriages and using me as the bait, the vulnerable bait. And it's really fucked up. Just because I'm autistic, they think, oh, I got this in the back. She's an autistic girl. I'm a cop. She's going to want it. She's going to want it no matter what I do to her, what I say, or what my wife does, or what my ex-wife does. Like, she's going to want it because she's autistic and she has no other choice. I'm the best choice she has. That's the psychology that these cops have in their mind. And I'm sitting here going like...
All the cops want to fuck her.
Bitch, I'm next on the list for JD Vance. I was raped by a Marine.
I'm next on the list for JD Vance. Is that what she just said?
JD Vance.
See, you guys didn't know this is politics. It is.
She's going to want it because she's autistic and she has no other choice. I'm the best choice she has. That's the psychology that these cops have in their mind. And I'm sitting here going like, bitch, I'm next on the list for JD Vance. I was raped by a Marine at Greeley and Catholic Charities when I was knocked out unconscious after ingesting something in either my food or drink. I did a rape kit where I found there was semen inside of me while I was ovulating, so I could have gotten pregnant. I believe it was the same Marine clone that I have a restraining order against who strangled me and raped me in San Bernardino in October as well. What a great guy. I thought we had imprisoned him. Turns out he's still alive. And I know that the magistrate was fucking Alex Honnold and Justin Trudeau at one of their Nepo sex parties, and that's why she knew exactly what location I had because Justin Trudeau and Alex Honnold were in charge of my DoorDash account. So when they were...
Justin Trudeau is in charge of your DoorDash account?
Fucking each other and talking about children, she thought it'd be a good idea to run this targeted crime against me and then say that I was the suspect of the crime, which is really creative, but you must not fucking know me. Oh, and another thing is I got sexually molested.
It's even worse today. We found out, I guess we could have looked this up, but Steve Witkoff was literally sitting in the fucking Kremlin meeting with Russian assets, probably connected to their fucking Wi-Fi while this signal chat was going on.
So that sexually molested women, multiple law enforcement members found out one wasn't even law enforcement. How sad is that? And then all these people smoke meth. Like, you wonder why they go around spreading all these rumors. Dude, they smoke meth. Like, it's not that hard to figure out. I come into these mental health facilities and they always are like, they'd spread the rumor that I do meth. And I'm like, bruh, I'm as clean as a motherfucker. Come in here, do my drug test. Nothing comes up, negative, negative, negative. If they were to come in here and do drug tests, holy shit. They would never. They would never. That's why we have to get court-ordered warrants to drug test them on a covert basis.
On a covert basis. Okay. At least she's getting her legal counsel in place and her plan here.
Hello.
We're watching it evolve a little bit.
Ms. Solari, Pearson, and...
Oh, no. Is this a Zoom court case? Sarah, no. Trooper Sarah.
Hello. Right. Ms. Solari, Pearson, and audio-visual feed to our WebEx system this morning. This matter comes on for a first appearance. Good morning, Ms. Solari.
Good morning.
It looks like you received an initial advisement in this matter on March 3rd. Do you have any questions about that initial advisement?
No, I do not.
All right. What plans do you have as far as an attorney to help you with this?
I do not have any as of right now.
I can't play that audio. So she wants to represent herself, is what she asked. To be her own representative. And then she does this like gangster.
Right.
These are
I wonder if this is how the people of Gaza feel. I wish you well.
the type of anti-Semitic comments I get on the reg from people in the
Anti-Semitic.
state of Colorado, and whenever I do report these comments to local authorities, they don't see them as anti-Semitic. I guess because they don't have a sense or understanding of what anti-Semitism is, since they are so anti-Jew here in Colorado. Coloradans are very racist against Jewish people. I don't know why. I think it's because they lack funds, and they say Jewish people have a lot of money, and that creates that jealousy, spite, envy, just that ugliness inside of their soul when it comes to a Jewish person walking by. They can't even
A handrail in the room.
because it's a direct reflection of everything they lack, apparently. I mean, Jewish people are highly intelligent. We got probably the best morals. We got the best moral compass in the world. We're fighting the good.
You were just talking about persecution, and then someone said, I wonder if this is how the people of Gaza feel. Wish you well.
Fight, we're really strong. We're really.
I don't know that this is anti-Semitism. I mean, it's a snark comment, obviously. Anti-Semitism?
People, we have a lot going for us. We also don't engage in casual intercourse. So Coloradans feel very threatened by our kind because they can't understand us. They're like, how do people go years without having anything in their holes?
Her name is Sarah Solari. How do people go years without having anything in their holes?
So we do not engage in anal activity, and everyone in Colorado engages in anal activity. So that
Dr. J. Everybody in Colorado engages in anal activity. You're either Jewish or you like it in the back door.
Anal activity, and everyone in Colorado engages in anal activity, so that it creates a lot of tension between the Jewish population, which is pretty much non-existent here in Colorado, and everybody else. Jewish people, we cannot engage in polyamorous relationships. We can't engage in anal activity. So there's such a lack of understanding, and it forces these people to resort to anti-Semitic comments just to make themselves feel a little bit better about their soulless lives. And the truth of the matter is all these Peace for Palestine people don't even understand the war. They don't even understand that they would be the first people gone once, the people they are supporting if they are able to attack America, the people supporting the Hamas terrorists would go after those people first in line, just because they're vulnerable populations are out there protesting, showing their faces to the Hamas. So they're going to threaten them with either becoming a part of their terrorist organization once they migrate here to America. If not, they're going to hold them hostage till they die. This is how these terrorist organizations work. That's why it's so peculiar to me that like all these liberal people are like for Palestine when you don't even realize like how dangerous they are. Like these people literally think that they're like fighting the good fight, like not even knowing that like Israelis are protecting Americans by making sure that Hamas doesn't like infiltrate American civilian lives. Like the IDF troops are literally on the side of America, and America's like shitting on the IDF troops, and it's just like so backwards. It's so backwards because of people's lack of research. And I feel so sorry for them. I feel so sorry for them because brainwashing apparently is super easy for people who have low IQs. They don't do their own research. These are the type of anti-Semitic comments.
Anti-Semitism, I guess. Oh, stop the audio. There's some more lunging in this one. I've seen this one. I feel like it's worse for the music. This says if Kim K, this is Kim Kardashian, if she were royal blood born in a Jewish family who was sold to a Catholic mother. Everybody can relate to that. Those grippy socks are pretty awesome, though. Wow.
Have you seen those like IDF soldiers?
Damn it, audio. They're so hot.
Have you seen like the way they look? Like they got the pants with the zipper. They got the face that looks like they should be in a Hollywood movie, but they don't even care about movies. They're just there because they know how to operate weapons on bad people.
Weapons?
Those are the people that I want protecting my family, my babies, my little Jewish pure babies, my little Jewish untouched pure babies. I need you.
This took a very weird master race turn.
Man, I've been waiting my whole life. Where are you at, courts? Bring me a Jewish man. Bring me a Jewish man who can teach me everything about law. Have you seen those? I don't want your ugly ass bald husbands, cop wives.
Thank God.
Boring ass cop wives who have nothing to contribute to this world other than hate, discrimination, shit, and wasting money on monetary goods that don't matter and won't bring you any happiness, because happiness comes from within, and obviously you're way too dumb to understand that. I don't want your bald husbands. They're not my type in the first place. Okay, like I have a pretty like distinguished life. I need a guy who's gonna be able to be on my level, like intellectual wise, and it just seems like these cops are not capable of being on my level in any type of way. So you guys, come on, let's end the war. Just stick with your husbands, stick with your wives, like pretend like I don't even exist. What about we try that? What about we try that?
She's tired of stealing everybody's husbands. Dude, making these dancing videos in a crazy hospital is like another level, okay? Don't get me wrong, I've been locked up in the VA, in the crazy, crazy part of the VA, but I didn't make any dancing videos while there. Grippy socks in the air. Did you fix her Ask King of Space?
Everyone who's like, we get it. You're in jail. Actually, no. I'm in hiding because of so many death threats that I receive on the regular. On the reg. From people who hate Jewish women. Domestic terrorist threats. I'm not telling you where I am, but do people in prison get to wear their clothes and get to have their phone and get to post on social media? I don't think so. So I think that qualifies you
I don't think you're in prison.
as mentally incapacitated, intellectually incapacitated. But keep spreading what makes you feel good. And being a Jewish woman,
I bet you could have. Just a little bit more time, Ask King. You probably could have fixed her.
receiving all this hate in addition to being autistic and being a victim of so many hate crimes just surrounding that as well, has led me to feel more safe with heavy supervision than outside in the wild, having to face beasts that don't even know left from right, right from wrong. This is what feels comfortable. This is what feels safe. I know you can't say the same because you're not a Jewish autistic woman living in 2025 in Colorado, but this is what it is like for most of us. There's not that many Jewish women in Colorado, and that's obviously for good reason. And yeah, by the way, I am Elon Musk's first daughter. I mean, it's too obvious at this point. It's just way too obvious. And that increases my death threats tenfold from all parties involved. And yeah.
Well, thank God now we know. I've been sitting here wondering the whole time. Well, let's look at her oldest video on her accounts. Has it always been like this?
So I could fit in a whole day's worth of work by just going to Target to do a return, standing there and looking pretty for the cameras. That's all I have to do in order to get at least 15 illegals deported come January 20th. Right now, I'm kind of living, I'm hiding out in a unspecified house with a lot of lunatics. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. Let's just say they are informants giving, oh, this sounds so delusional. My life is like stranger than, like literally stranger than fiction. But I guarantee you, I do not, it just sounds like I have like all these like crazy psychiatric disorders. But if you listen to what I'm saying, it will make sense. If you're able to connect dots, if you're able to like piece the puzzle pieces together, then you'll be able to understand how I speak, what I'm speaking about, what the intention is. You'll be able to pick up on all of that, but you just have to use your critical thinking skills, which not most of us are apt for, right? Most of us didn't go to college. I went to SST, go Gators, you know, it is what it is. This is how I speak, this is how I document things, this is how I keep track of all the crazy happenings that go on in my life, because it's just too much for me to just like go on with my day without documenting something that happens like right after it happens. Otherwise, like I'll lose track, I'll forget important details, all that kind of stuff. So it's important that I just go about documenting things by photojournaling them instantly, immediately after the event happens. That's what I found works best for me. This is all to say that I went to Target to do a return. Someone who was living with me told whoever is in charge of the National Guard illegal community that I was going to be showing up to Target to do a return. So they all came together. I have a video that I'll post at the end of this video of they all band together and decided, you know, let's go and return things. Let's go return things so we can like make the line really big. I'm not, this is not even a fucking joke. I'm like literally telling you facts right now. They're like, we're gonna make the line really big. So when she gets there, it will be like a really big line. She'll have to wait like a long time to do her return. Maybe she wouldn't want to do it after that, after she sees that line. I got to the line, I started dancing because I was so juiced for how much information we were gonna get based off of these people's faces and their surveillance camera come January 20th. You know, that's when we're gonna be able to put this information to use. And I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but like Governor Newsom is like, he like supports our agenda, which is crazy to think about because like he's Democratic, but like he understands the importance of handling this very serious matter. He understands the consequences that would come if we were to just go on with our lives totally ignoring that this section of society in California is thriving right now, because they control a lot of gang activity. That includes drugs, sex,
rock and roll.
Those are the two things that I'm focused on within my
taco trucks
field of work. So that's what I hyperfixate on, is how the illegals are, you know, coming in here and giving their children up to white men in exchange for green cards, which is birthright citizenship. Look it up. It's a real fucking thing. It's a real thing that we're going to be taking away from all these people. Like literally, if they have a green card or citizenship through having a child here in America, they're getting it revoked. Like even if you already have it, like it's getting taken away. It will be like no longer in effect, basically. So what these Mexicans have done is come into our country, have, you know, someone fuck with their child in exchange for that man getting them pregnant so that they could have the baby here in America, instantly get citizenship. They don't give a fuck about children. They don't give a fuck about children. They just care about staying here in America because Papi's here in America. And Papi loves kids. He's crazy for the kids. They sleep with, you know, when he's not there, they sleep with his molded cock. Hey, they love his caca. They love his caca, and they sleep with it at night every night, and they say, Papi, when are you coming home? Not making this shit up. Not making this shit up. Anyways, could you imagine setting aside time in your day to go to, okay, one of the people who came to Target to do, it wasn't even a return, she like came with 5 SodaStream bottles, and it has like the nozzle at the very top that makes it kind of look like it should be inserted in someone who likes anal sex, and given that, you know, these are illegals, they like anal sex. So the whole time I was just thinking like, damn, what were you planning on doing with those? And then she put 5 bottles of the SodaStream on the counter, and they're like these huge bottles. And then she was like, no way, I gotta take 3 home, no way, I can't keep all these back, I need at least 3. And she decided to keep 3 of them. I was like, damn, do you like shake it up and then like put it in your anus and then it like blows up? Anyways, so these people took time to go to a Target to make returns.
To be fair, she's living her best life. Like if I was this delirious, I wouldn't want anybody to bust my bubble either.
For the sole purpose of making me wait longer in line. Okay, cool. You know, they wasted time. Great, whatever. No, it gets even better than this. They sacrificed not just their time, but their right to be here in America. They don't understand what's going on right now. Like, they don't grasp the severity of the situation for them. And I keep trying to, I feel like they deserve I feel like they deserve the decency to at least know. And then so when the time comes, they don't go, oh no, what happened? You know, they know why they're getting deported because they put a target on their back while I was, you know, in the vicinity of them. And the reason why they put a target on their back is to, you know, come into a space and basically fuck with me just for funsies. And then, you know, it ended up getting them deported. And I'm trying to be like, it's not worth it, brought like, I will wait in line, like if I have to wait 10 extra minutes and like, cool, like that's cool, right? You coming to Target to do a return to make me wait 10 more minutes in line in exchange for getting deported, that's not cool, right? Like if you really, you know, wanted to be here, don't you think you would like work a little bit harder to be like a good citizen? And then get this. The person who basically ordered them to go, right, is my father, because my father is linked up with the illegal communities. He's kind of the one that's running all these sex trafficking scandals. He's the one that's giving them the information. So they're like, yeah, like we love Papi Chulo, but like he's the bad guy, right? So like they're proving to Newsom, they're proving to Trump that they're not reliable citizens, that they will do whatever it takes, you know, at the end of the day to cover up their crimes. So they're literally showing through their actions that they don't deserve to be here, which even furthermore, you know, puts them on our list as, you know, because we have a priority of people, you know, it goes based off priority who we need to get out of here first. That doesn't show good character. If you're rooting for the bad guy and hoping that the good guy, you know, takes basically the punishment for the bad guy, if you're rooting for that just so that you could stay here in America, like if you're doing what Trudeau tells you to do just so you can stay here in America, even though you know that's morally wrong, that's not showing good character. That's not showing good morale. Come on. He's a Canadian citizen. Why are you going to stand for that's, you know, domestic terrorism right there? Like that's literally clearly you're saying I'm choosing a Canadian citizen telling me what to do. Even if it harms an American citizen, even if it harms an innocent American citizen, I'm going to do what Papi Chulo tells me to do. Do you not see like how stupid that is for you? Do you not see that? Am I the only one that sees that? Because like I feel like that's so stupid. Like how many arrests do I need to make for you to understand that I'm a federal fucking marshal everywhere I go? I have surveillance on me because of the shit that's going on right now. You know, a lot of tensions are high, especially in the military. I'm gonna have a lot of fucking eyes on me. So like you shouldn't fucking take the chance for some funny ass bullshit. You just shouldn't do, like if you really care about your children, your families, their health, their you know, ability to thrive, why are you putting it all on the line to return your anal SodaStream sex toys? Why? And then taking three of them home and deciding it's not worth it to return all of them, only 2 of them. Why do that? Why do that? I mean, this can all be fact-checked, right? Like, this can all be fact-checked. Everything I'm saying, everything I say has to be corroborated for the government to know that I'm not just spitting out lies. I have to be fact-checked whenever I speak, especially through video. They need to know that I'm a reliable source of information.
Right.
So, you know, everything I say is going to come into fruition. And I don't know if you've noticed that yet.
I noticed it.
Fishing friends have. I don't know if you have yet. I mean, welcome. You know, I'm Orange County bitch now. Like, San Bernardino knows all about me. They knew not to fuck with me. I guess Orange County needs a couple more lessons. I don't know.
Oh shit, she had Target at the very end of it. So these are all the illegals that her dad sent in to make her life worse. That makes sense though.
What a gymtastic experience. This guy will do anything for $5, even if it means getting fucked in the ass.
Was she just harassing people now?
Dude, it's been a while. Hi, my name is Sarah.
All right, got one more. This woman makes pretty funny videos. She does gentle parenting videos. But she does gentle parenting videos to like other subjects. They're actually really funny. So here's the last one. Here you go.
Crisscross applesauce spoons and bowl. Notice my face. I am so sad, friends. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Is Signal a secure, encrypted military communication system? Yes or no? No. Are we supposed to use any group chat to coordinate airstrikes? No. That was a super sad choice. You could have used your walking feet and sat in a room together and used your words to commit acts of war. I don't care what you did at Fox and Friends, Peter. Catch a bubble. I was gone for 1 day, and Mr. Jeffrey said that while I was gone, you were being mean to Europe? Mr. Jeffrey knows because you added him to the group chat, friend. Yes, I know you get super duper excited talking about bombs. I saw the emojis. But even when Donald is playing golf and you get to play President, JD, you have to calm your body down before talking about national security. Got it? Okay. In front of you, you have some paper. We are going to write I'm sorry notes to our European allies. No, you all are going to write notes because you all were in the group chat. No, not Mr. Jeffrey. JD, no couch. Thank you. Crisscross applesauce.
No couch. Jeffrey, no couch. She does very, very, very funny videos when she does the gentle parenting stuff. You can check her out. Her name is Miss Frazzled. Mrs. Frazzled. Mrs.Frazzled on TikTok. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I'm out. I have no idea what the comments on Facebook mean, but that's most of the comments on Facebook. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I'm out for the night. Support the show if you want to. Don't. I don't care. We're probably all going to die here anyways. Some of us quicker than others. Have a good night. See ya.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
I always get suggested her gentle parenting videos. And there's like 100 of them or something she did on politics. They're really good.
I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them.
Oh yeah, I did get a donation last night. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it.
Cause you ain't seen nothing yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6 cents for the stupid shit. Well, my true believer.
Hope this helps a tiny bit. Yes, it does. Thank you.
The Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshiping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong.
Liam has a golf match tomorrow, but I don't know that we're going because it's like an hour and a half away. It's way up in Abingdon, Virginia. So that might just be one that he goes to on its own. I think he even has to leave school early to get there on time. So.
Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit.
We go to all the home ones, most of the away ones, but we don't make them all.
You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped.
Yeah, the last one, Warrior Path State Park. That's about an hour drive, somewhere around there. And I didn't get back to the office till like 9:30, something like that.
He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it."
Wait. Stop.
What?
What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Give me oh my God. Damn it.
Here we go, I think I
Have a good night, guys. Enjoy the night. Enjoy the life you have right now, because it's about to all come crashing down.
buckle up, 'cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss 'em off.